this is where you want to be spending this evening. I really appreciate you making the choice to be here.
Of course. Thank you for caring about this.
I know that you're still in touch with a lot of your former colleagues and employees at USAID. Beyond what we're seeing in the headlines, what else can you tell us to help us understand what's actually happening here?
Well, you can imagine when you suddenly in your inbox find a termination notice or a leave of absence notice that you didn't expect to get on a flawed predicate that you're doing radical leftist insubordination. It's pretty jarring. And because there's so many lies and falsehoods circulating, and so many claims that people are sort of not with the program, I think people are just completely dislocated. There's no stable ground on which to walk. And then, of course, most of them have been laid off, so they're worried about how they're going to pay the bills and how they're going to make rent. But maybe the part that is the most striking and for me inspiring, if not surprising, having worked there for 4 years, is that, you know, the people who work at USAID did not come to work at USAID for the money. The civil servants, the foreign servants, the contractors, they came to USAID because they wanted to make a difference in the world, because they saw America's interests as tied up with the interests of people, vulnerable people around the world. And so even as they're struggling to figure out how to make rent, all of a sudden, they're most struggling with the fear that so many millions of people who relied on us as a country, on USAID as an agency, but on them as individuals, that those individuals out in the world have no place to turn. And indeed, they're showing up and finding health clinics shuttered and soup kitchens closed and advisors who were helping governments renegotiate debt with China, those advisors, now taken off the books. So just the wreckage in the world is what the USAID staff that I'm in touch with are carrying with them. That's what's keeping them up at night, as much as the question of what am I going to do tomorrow, and how do I take care of my family?
Let me ask you about that sort of outward-looking part of this calculation that I think you just alluded to a little bit there, even as we're focusing on, the human cost and what's happened to all these careers and what's happened to these individual programs, even just trying to, because, USAID works in 120 countries. It does so many different things. I think it's hard to get one picture in your head of what it's done. But we do, when looking outward from the program, have a very clear picture that is summed up in a New York Times headline tonight. Foreign strongmen cheer as Musk dismantles U.S. aid agency.